Okay, so we've looked at how to solve right triangles using trig to get those side lengths, right? But let's use trig to find angle measurements. We can do the same kind of thing. We can use SOHCAHTOA to do that as well. It's just a little bit different. So let's look at a problem. So finding angle measurements. So we're finding angles using SOHCAHTOA. Boy, my handwriting got a little bit better. You can maybe read that. Okay, so finding angles using SOHCAHTOA. So let's draw a triangle. I'm going to go ahead and label this triangle A, B, and C. I have a 90-degree angle here, and I know that this side length is 10, and I know that this side length is 22. Okay? What I'd like to do right now is I'd like to find the measurement of angle A. Okay, so to find the to find the measurement of angle A, what I need to do is I need to figure out what trig function I need to use. And that's just based on, again, using angle of interest. So if A is my angle of interest, what is 10 in terms of that angle? Because I'm looking for angle A, what is 10? Well, 10 is the adjacent, right? Because it's running right into it. So it's the adjacent. It's a little a. Whew. All right, what about 22, the other side length that I have? What is it? Well, it's the opposite. All right, so using the adjacent and the opposite, I know that I'm going to use the tangent. So I know that tangent of what? Because usually the angle goes there, right? Well, I think that's A. The tangent of A, right? Because we don't know what the angle measurement is. Equals the opposite, which is 22 over 10. Now, we can't use trig now because we don't have the angle, right? So what we have to do is we have to use what's called the inverse function. So the inverse function is found right above the tangent function, and it looks like this. Usually in a calculator like this, you'd have to use the second key to get to it, okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and type in second tangent, and it gives me that -1, right? And then I'm going to do 22 over 10. All right, it spits out. So I'm doing that. That's what I'm putting in the calculator. And I know that because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the angle, and this is the only way to do it. So the calculator is going to spit out 65.56 degrees. Okay, making sure again that you're in degree mode. All right, so it just depends on what you have. So if I'm looking for like a certain angle and I have to use the cosine, then I would just use the inverse cosine. So let's try another problem real quick. All right, so I have another triangle, A, B, and C. I know that this is 14, and I know that this is 32. Let's go ahead and find the measurement of angle C. All right, so I want to find the measurement of angle C. I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA again to set up my problem. So looking at C, using that as my angle of interest, 14 is the one that's across from it, so it's the opposite. And 32 is the hypotenuse because it's across from 90 degrees. Okay? So that means when I look up here, that's the sine function, right? Because that's the one that has O and H in it. So that's going to be sine of angle C equals the opposite, which is 14, over 32. Again, I'm looking for the angle, so I have to use the inverse function. So in the calculator, I have to know that I immediately have to do the inverse of 14 over 32. So in my calculator, I'm going to hit second sine, which gives me the inverse. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in 14 over 32. And that gives me approximately 25.94 degrees. Okay, so that's how you find angle measurements using SOHCAHTOA. Again, use your angle that you're trying to find, call out your angle of interest. You're always going to have at least two legs, otherwise you wouldn't be able to do the trig function. Okay, you can't use the inverse trig function if you don't have two of your side lengths. So use those two side lengths, use any two side lengths you want, as long as you have them, and just figure out which trig function you'd like to use.